Capricorn, this is your October tarot reading. Middle card there, immediately drawn to it. Maybe you're carrying an extra burden. I can't see what it is, but I've got a feeling that families are important here. Maybe there's an estrangement within families. I don't know, it's just feelings I'm getting. But an end is in sight, and you can feel that end in sight, and I think that's what this entire reading is about. In the past you were certainly very blessed, felt like the sun was beating down on you, couldn't do anything wrong, extremely happy, and of course happiness does bring its own blessings. But right now you're feeling somewhat fierce, brave, unfazed by things, but maybe jumping to conclusions, maybe. In the future we have a time to celebrate with family and friends, but this could be a family reunion, which does fit in with these feelings I'm getting about the overall theme here. It's possible. What leads to the outcome is you are going to receive blessings. So good things are going to come to you, but maybe there's somebody missing, which again fits in with this overall feeling I've got. I suppose it's the energies of these cards that are giving me this feeling, but I can't fully explain why I feel this way. But yeah, blessings, but like there's something missing in your life. I think maybe you're tempted to look to religion to explain things, and I think it is a formal religion, looking to what others think, and I'm not certain that's the right thing to be doing. Now, many people can get sucker from religion, myself included, so I'm not against religion. But when we have sort of overwhelming problems and we're seeking answers, sometimes religion, I think, or how people interpret religion, not necessarily religion, but how people interpret it, I think can lead us down a wrong route. And I'm just a bit worried about that. The outcome, I think, is the right outcome. And maybe this is, this lost sheep coming back. It's working with others, working together with others to achieve something. So is this other person the one that's missing? I've assumed that it's family, but it doesn't have to be family. But I do feel that there's something missing and that this is it. And you get that, of course, if you've been blessed but feeling lonely, maybe you reach out to them to help you in your endeavours, in what you're doing. Interesting, isn't it? Now the overall theme is that of you struggling a little, carrying something of a burden. Now we don't know what it is, but I've got all these indications of families or people close to you, as though you're carrying a burden. Could it be a burden that somebody that's close to you is missing in your life, and you're carrying what you feel is a responsibility for that, or simply a worry? That's the sort of feeling I've got from this, but I couldn't say that that's definitely the right way to be seeing this. But you are shouldering this responsibility, and it's a bit of a struggle. But you do know that an end is in sight. You do know that this is temporary and that you're near the end of a journey. Why would you know that? I'm not sure. Maybe it's entirely subconscious. I'm not at all sure about it though. But yeah, you can feel it. You can feel that an end is in sight. And in the past, things felt a lot better. Which is why I feel that there's something now missing in your life. There was great happiness, great joy. It felt as though everything you did went right. And of course, if you are filled with happiness and joy, it does feel like that's exactly what happens. If you're filled with happiness and joy, it feels, well, no, you do attract good things. You do attract blessings. So in the past, you had many blessings. I don't think you're necessarily depressed now, but I've got this overwhelming feeling that you feel there is something missing. What could it be? Well, I was going to talk about the rendering, and there's the lovers there and the Scottish dog, but goodness knows what it is that's actually missing, yeah. What's changed? Well, we really don't know, but as I say, I feel there's something missing. And currently your energy does suggest that something's changed. Because we have the energy of the Knight of Swords. He's the bravest knight. He's fearless, he's bold. He does jump to conclusions. I can't see any conflict here. But I wonder if you've jumped to conclusions with a loved one and it's caused friction. There is something missing here. There's something missing in your life for certain. And it does involve people. Have you jumped to the wrong conclusion about something? I've got a son. I'm not sure he is my son. I think he's... Well, that's another story, but anyway, I brought him up as my son, and he's got mental health problems. And a number of years ago, he was extorting money out of me, all of my spare money, and I just couldn't afford to keep doing it. It was a complete drain on me. And what I hadn't realised was he was effectively homeless, and he therefore didn't have ID, which meant that he couldn't claim benefits off the UK government. There were a few benefits he was able to claim without ID, but his main benefits he couldn't claim. So all along, all this money that I spent out was supplementing what the UK government should have been taking care of, And I've got the feeling it's this sort of a misunderstanding that's behind these things here. Something like that. I did say before that the overall theme, you could feel that an end was in sight. You can feel it. Maybe you can't see the path, but you can feel that an end is in sight. And in the future, I think we have confirmation of that, because we have a celebration with family and friends, almost that the prodigal son has returned. That's the very strong feeling I'm getting from this. So whatever has happened does get resolved. Maybe you're interested in my son, obviously we live on the other sides of the world, and eventually he got back in touch with me. And I don't think he'd purposely lost touch with me. He'd been sectioned under the Mental Health Act and kept in institutions for over a year. I think not just once, but a few times. And he'd lost all his identity. He'd lost everything. Lost his mobile phone, lost a means of contacting me, etc. So we're back in contact, and he is on the mend, but he's a long way from being well. Now, during all this time, he went to university twice and had to drop out twice. So there's no longer any Right, well, he can no longer get his fees paid for university. But, he's a clever bloke, and the obvious thing to do to sort him out would be to go back to university. He probably should never have gone to university on those two other occasions and should have been institutionalised, but that just isn't how the mental health system works, So he's buggered up his chances for the rest of his life, And I mean, I chat with him, and I love him, even though I say I don't think he's my son. I love him. So I've got the feeling it's something like this that happens to you, and not chatting with him for 5 years or so, lost contact with him for 5 years ago. It was like having my arm cut off. And I think it's a similar thing to you. They do come back. Now, what's going to lead to the outcome is you are going to be blessed by the universe. I think these are monetary blessings, well, financial blessings, let's put it that way. You're quite comfortable, but you are feeling alone, so it does fit in with this sort of analogy I've got. You're missing the prodigal son, as it were. There's something missing in your life. So you've got the financial ability to do things, which I certainly wasn't left with, having bailed my son out due to the lack of provision from the UK government. So you've got the ability to do something about it. And I think you are determined to do something now. What I believe is a diversion for you is religion. Now, we all find succor, solace in religion, and so I'm not running religion down. But I believe that it's something of a red herring in terms of you closing this chapter, you changing things, because it would change things if you followed a religious view of it. I don't quite know why, but I can see it. I can see exactly what it's saying, but I don't quite know how it would change it. So let's get back to my son. You see, he had, I mean, let's face it, the guy was desperate, he was destitute. Why his mother wasn't looking after him is another story, because of, certainly she had sole guardianship over him, so she should have been looking after him, and in fact the reason why I left the UK was it was no good me and her interfering, but well, anyway, that's other stories. But yeah, he was blackmailing me for money, but he was desperate, and in the end I had to say to him, because there just wasn't any more money, I had to say, look, there's no more money, I'm sorry, I just can't possibly do it, and if you don't want to get back in touch with me, I understand. And he didn't. But of course he'd been sectioned, and he'd probably lost the ability to get back in contact with me. Certainly when he eventually got back in contact with me, it's because of my solicitor had passed my contact details on to him, following him getting an inheritance from my mother, So he had he had lost the ability to contact me, and I was all along thinking, well, he don't want to hear from me because he just wants my money, So I've got the feeling that religion could send you down completely the wrong track on these things. So be careful with it. I'm not saying religion's a bad thing, though. Now, in fact, it was my son that really reached out for me, but I did say to my solicitor, yeah, it's okay to give him my number, as I say, I'm very happy to hear from him now. I really am, I truly am. I feel terribly sorry for all he's been through. Could I have done more? Well, only if I knew more. You see, his mother claimed sole guardianship, so I wasn't even allowed to be told what was wrong with him, you know. So I was completely in the dark and on the other side of the world. Well, anyway, you don't need my excuses. So he reached out to me, but I think you reach out to whoever this is that's missing from your life, and you reach out to incorporate them in something you're doing. Maybe these blessings are a business you've got and you want them to come and help you with the business. Maybe it's not that, you know, maybe it's something a lot simpler, but you want them to be a part of a team with you, and that's how you reach out for them. And it does work out. So I'm not even going to go for clarity. I'm going to summarise for you now. Capricorn. Capricorn, there's something missing in your life. In the past, your life seemed perfect. Everything you did seemed to result in positive outcomes. But no longer. There's something missing. And I think it's because you've jumped to the wrong conclusion on things. I'm pretty certain what's missing is a person in your life. Somebody that you were very close to. Probably family, but I mean it could be friends. But yeah, you've jumped to the wrong conclusion. And you're feeling this great burden of not having them with you now. But you can also feel in your heart that that's nearly over. This separation is going to end. I haven't said this as we've gone throughout, but of course it's entirely possible that this person has been taken from you. For example, they might have joined the military, they might be in jail, they might be sectioned in a mental hospital. So it may be that they've been taken from you more so than you've banished them from you. But you have jumped to the wrong conclusion on something. The universe is going to bless you, and almost certainly these blessings are monetary blessings. But I don't think it makes you happy, because you've got this overwhelming feeling that there's something missing in your life. And until you can bring them back, I don't think you'll be happy. But you have the money to do so now. You can manoeuvre. I think something of a red herring would be to turn to religion. Not because I'm damning religion. I often turn to religion for my own succour, as it were. But I don't think it's the right thing to be doing in these circumstances. No, I think you reach out to this person that's missing in your life. Reach out for them to become a part of a team with you. Maybe it's a business you've got. Maybe it's just a project. But you reach out to them, and I think they do come back. And so therefore this is time for great celebration that this thing that's been missing in your life has come back to you.